Hey, everybody.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this Thursday's edition of the Night Bite.
Yeah. So we have a little thing going on here. Brad's actually out on the ice with the Linders.
Yeah, so
And
whole
so
exciting group there, to be honest.
Yeah. So he'll be checking in with us shortly, I hope.
Well, and with that, that's one of the reminders that we have to give is that we are live. And so there's a chance that Josh may need to quick jump on his phone and, make sure that everything is working with him.
Yeah.
But we did just touch base with him and it seems like, actually, it looks like he's logging in now.
Oh, here we go. Hey, what's up, Brad?
Hey, how you guys been?
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Man, for being on the lake, you are really clear and I can hear you really well.
Well, we're lucky there's not a lot of people out here on the weekends. The cell reception is pretty bad, but we're lucky it's, during the week. So, but
nice.
We were out doing the otter photo shoot today out here in Millie Lacs, which went really, really well. And it was me, Joel Nelson, Jamie, and a few other guys. And we caught some fish and got some cool stuff. And then a bunch of my good friends were like, hey, we drug the Yeti out and we're going to plant on a spot and we're going to try to get some video. So we got right here next to me.
Hey.
There's Billy Linder.
How you doing?
Hey, Bill.
Yeah, we call this cat. That's Nikki Six.
Hey.
Videographer. And we got the new guy from Angling Buzz.
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's up?
Good to see ya.
So I popped in and Bill stuck a nice one within I don't know, 20 minutes. And the tip-ups outside, Mike Hayner's here too. The tip-ups outside have been it's so cold right now, they're kind of freezing up.
Okay.
But we lost, 6-8?
Yeah.
6-8 fish.
Okay.
So we're hoping
and when you say fish, you do mean walleye.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. And so, we're getting a huge snowstorm here in Wisconsin. So are you guys getting that or you have that cold front pushing in already?
We are in the cold front right now. It is, tip-ups are freezing. I'm glad we're in you wouldn't be outside the portable right now at all.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, your ice conditions and how fishing is going. Well, I guess you talked about fishing a little bit.
So ice conditions are a little dramatic still out here on Millie Lacs. It's, you got to drill. If you're going to drive, you need to drill. 3 days ago, we did find another 9-inch spot and we're like, oh man. But then you go 50 feet to the left and it's 14 inches.
Okay.
So, but the cool part is, there's a lot of bait in the lake, but the fish are still biting. Morning and evening bites are the best. You can still scratch a few out during the day. Northland UV colors are the bomb, so electric perch and UV green have been the best. And if you can find shiners, definitely bring them.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, you guys got a lot of adventure going on right now. What do you see coming up with the season here?
I think Millie Lacs is going to remain strong. We've got a lot of areas that we're just not able to access right now. A lot of the mud flats out here have not been fished this year. So I think that's going to extend our typical late season bite to where everything's been beat up and drilled and, sore lipped. I think that this year when we're able to access those, and we're going to be able to access those in a minute with heavy equipment in about 3 or 4 days. So you're literally talking, I'm going to start knocking roads to mud flats and we're dragging Yetis left and right out there and whacking fish.
Nice.
I hope.
Well, and we're hoping for that cold front coming in too, because shortly after that, down here in Wisconsin, we're going to be having the Battle on Bago. So that's always a really exciting thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's always a lot of exciting fishing going on in Millie Lacs. So that's always really great to hear about.
It is. I've heard about that Battle on Bago. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot like the Brainerd thing, only it's a little bit more partying and just a good time.
It's like Brainerd crossed with eel pout, I'm guessing.
Yep, it would be exactly that.
Sweet.
So tell us a little bit about your guide service.
So I guide in the otters, and then on cold days like tomorrow, I'll have guys out in my Yeti just because it's going to be 35-mile-an-hour winds. It's going to be 4 below. And instead of, setting otters up all over and drilling holes and freezing, we just put guys in the Yetis and operate the hydros, and move them around like that. So we offer those services, portable trips, and then we also do wheelhouse trips as well. Billy's got a fish going, so I may go like this.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, yeah, I think that's pretty much my guide service. I'm just your plain Jane Minnesota guide. You know, we do it year round, and I love to do it. So if you guys want to fish with me, give me a call at 651-271-8600, or you can hit me on the web at milacslakeguide.com.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that is perfect. And then are you booked up for the season then, or you do still have a few openings left?
I'm kind of booked until the first week in March, but then after that I open up, and that's actually a really fun time to go out fishing with me, because we go out and do the panfish stuff and kind of reinvent the wheel. You know, I get sick of walleye fishing by then, and then it's fun to go out and get perch, you know, crappie and big bluegill.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we do have a question from a viewer here about what fish you target. So, you know, you're talking here mostly walleyes, but then especially end of the season panfish. So, you know, a little bit of a nod to that.
Mm-hmm.
But man, whatever is biting usually, right?
Exactly. That's part of being like a multi-species guide. Like I focus on Mille Lacs when the walleye season's open, but as soon as it closes, we are off and running on smaller lakes chasing whatever bite is there.
Yeah.
Well, and not only do you have good guide service, but you also do put out a bunch of information online. I found myself watching one of your rattle reel videos the other day, because I actually built some rattle reels in my basement, and I just used your video kind of to help me set it up. So you put out a lot of good information for people if they haven't followed you and stuff. So that's really cool.
I know that piece you're talking, that was an angling buzz piece, and it got a lot of views because I think there's a lot of people that are new to fishing, right? And we take it for granted, like, hey, this is how you rig a rattle reel. But there's a lot of guys like, well, how do you really do it? Like, what's the best way to do it? Like, tip line has a lot to do with things. You know, guys are putting 2 feet of tip line and they got 16 feet of water clarity. Well, you need a lot more than that to be an effective angler. So just little tips like that is just to, help people out.
Yeah.
Well, and it was really helpful because, to be honest, we stayed in our hub over the weekend. That was a really great time. We don't have a fancy Yeti, so I'm super jealous. But the hub did work out pretty well, and the homemade rattle reels worked out actually really awesome. So, tips like that were perfect for our situation.
Mm-hmm. Hey, how did you do, like plastic or wood, or what did you do to make those?
Well, it was actually a combination of both. I took 4-inch PVC and I cut a 2-inch section of it, and then I glued 2 pieces of 6-inch pegboard that I cut out with a hole saw, and I just glued them on there, threw some bells in there,
and a light,
and the little light from Ultimate Outdoors.
Yep,
they're like $5, so I threw that in there, painted them up, and put one of the 2-inch clamps on there so I can
hook
move
it up
it around
to any of the poles.
Oh, yeah. That's super cool. Super cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think, guys, it's been fun. I got to get running. I'm going to let you guys say goodbye to everyone.
Hey, thanks for letting us sneak into the evening.
All right,
man.
And we'll catch up with you soon.
Have a good one.
Take it easy. Bye.
Bye.
Well,
all right. Yeah, that was really awesome. Really appreciate Brad taking his time, and really that whole Yeti Shack taking their time to come out and be with us.
Mm-hmm.
That is the thing about being a guide and, being in the fishing industry is a lot of people think that it's a lot of like sitting around fishing and having fun. But there's so much work that goes into that. There's so much time that goes into that. We heard about him, checking holes along the way, because if you're going to put a road out, you really need to know what you're driving on.
Yeah, absolutely. And, sometimes we're able to sit and talk with them like we sat and talked with Jason for 40 minutes, but those guys are busy, and so Brad had initially wanted to talk to us longer, but he had fish biting, so he really had to get going. So that was really fun to be able to chat with him on the ice. And
and we thought that we would take a few more minutes with you guys and just kind of, use that. We talked about our weekend on the ice and kind of debrief that for a short time. So, we can put up a picture too, especially in the comments here. But we did use our hub. It is a clam canai thermal. Is that? Oh no, that's a flip check. Ice Junkies put out all these different checks. What is the hub one?
It's the clam spearfisher.
The spearfisher.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's the blackout. It's a black hub. I think it fits 4 to 6 people or whatever.
Well, if we are just fishing in it with no gear, like not staying over, then I would definitely be able to fit 4 to 6 people for sure.
Yeah.
Comfortably.
Yeah. It's been a pretty decent shelter.
Yeah. Yeah. We did get some cots, and I think that really attributed to a comfortable weekend. Really definitely helped me sleep. Being elevated off the ice will keep you a little bit warmer. And then Josh was nice enough to get kind of a cover to go onto the cot. So along with being like a nice squishy pad, it really was very comfortable and kept us warm. What we do have to say about the cots, though, is that they did take up quite a bit of that hub. So it was a little bit tight quarters. We did bring the pup dog.
Yeah, we had her in the medium otter sport sled. So that's the medium sled, but it has shorter sides. And we just stuffed a couple of comforters in there. And she slept in between us. But between the two 70-inch cots and the medium otter sled, it was pretty squishy, but we did manage to put 4 holes in there too.
It is true. We did have 2 rattle reels, just exactly like what we were talking about. And then our other hole was usually a jigging hole. So that was really perfect setup, actually.
Todd, I will put that in the comments after we're done. I don't have it pulled up right now, but I will put it was on Amazon. It was like $70. They were really nice. Rated for 450 pounds, and they were really sturdy. I was able to sit on the end of it and jig like I was sitting in a chair.
Well, and even sometimes because the quarters of the shack were a little bit tight, sometimes you find yourself like kind of awkwardly stepping or kneeling into the middle of it to reach something. And you're like, oh, I really hope that this isn't like an awkward pressure point. It really did always work out just fine for both of us.
Yeah.
We did have to say our initial thought is that we put the cats out and then we left them out. Todd, make sure that you bring like a different chair to sit on. I would recommend something with a back because I'm a really big fan of sitting on my bucket. But I did really, in the end, wish that I had thought to kind of fold up my cot and then use that spot with a chair in front of it because we were out there Friday night, all day Saturday, Sunday morning. And honestly, I found my back getting a little bit sore. Kind of just because of the awkward sitting. Like I just would have brought a better chair.
Well, and it was something that we hadn't thought of in the moment, but it's one of those moments that like they're so easy. You grab each end and you fold it up like one of the camp chairs, and it could have just pushed in the corner, and we could have fished holes that were set underneath. So, just bring some extra chairs with, and you'll be way happy if you're in that kind of a hub situation.
We have a suggestion. The muddy chair is very comfortable with a backrest. I'm going to have to look that up and familiarize myself with that because I'm not sure if I can think of that offhand. I did always think about getting one of those really nice, like in summer, they sell those zero gravity chairs. It's like a lawn chair. You can almost recline all the way back. I did wonder if you could use that as sleeping and sitting. That's something that moves super easily, but we just didn't have one of those around. And so the cot is what we went with.
Yeah. And I think for me personally, I like those director style chairs. And so they fold up flat. I probably would have brought that with, but like she said, we both use buckets. I have one has the Vexlar attached to it. We'll be making Emily one that'll be coming up later here in the season for an off-season project, so stay tuned because we have a master at whole hopper buckets in our lineup. So
Yep. The other thing that's actually probably an interesting talking point that we did different than many other people is, you hear all the time about what kind of floor you're using. We didn't use a floor. Nope. We put it right on, I would say it was bare ice, but it was kind of like compacted snow, really, only a few inches before the ice, and then there was a ton of ice. But we never ran our heater so hot that it got wet in there. That's something that many people wouldn't be thrilled about, but I would say it was definitely warm the entire time. Anytime we kind of started to see our breath a little bit too much, we definitely turned that heater up. But definitely helped us feel a little bit safer from getting too much carbon monoxide in there. You really got to be safe about your venting, but also it didn't make for very messy feet. We did have one square of foam. What do you call that stuff?
Yeah, just the floor padding, the puzzle pieces, or you see them all over the place. We had one spot just to have a dry spot to be able to take your boots on and off. But I think one thing that made the floor not slushy is we elevated the heater off the ice. And so, initially I thought, well, maybe I'll put it on an ice cream box, or not an ice cream box, a milk crate.
Yeah.
So I thought about putting it on a milk crate, but then I happened upon this $10 table at Fleet Farm. It ended up breaking, but it lasted the whole weekend with the heater on it, and it was set at the same level as our cot. So it was really nice. The heat kind of came across us, left the floor just cool enough that it didn't get all wet in there. And that really did help, the whole walking situation.
I would absolutely do that again.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I was really impressed with is that's a big buddy heater in there, right?
Yeah.
And we had it hooked up to a 20-pound propane tank, and we at first put on one that we thought was almost empty, and we're like, well, we'll just see how long that lasts. And we didn't even think that it would last the entire first night. And I think that the end of that container on low, the heater worked until Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really was pretty astonishing. So if you've never hooked it up like that, that was a really great thing. And then you did actually get a tip from, I think it was Lonnie Gilman, a YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Because what happens is when you hook up that 20-pound propane tank to your Big Buddy heater, there is a hose that all of that propane has to travel through, and it takes longer than what you'd think. So you found a way to kind of bleed it through, and that was really helpful.
So Lonnie goes through a couple tips, because him at Trophy Ice Fish on Green Bay, he runs Big Buddies in all of his shacks. And he uses the hose, and he gave a couple tips. One is to make sure that the connection going into the propane is clear of any ice, because, especially if you're using it in a hub shack. I know Otter has a hose hole in the thing, but a lot of them you have to put it underneath the skirt, and you'll get some. So just clear that out and make sure it's seated correctly before you start twisting it on there. And then the other tip he said is, like, take your forceps and make sure you're outside, but just like hit the little on the inside, hit the little quick connect in the middle, and bleed some of that propane so that it's all the way through the hose. And then you click it on, and then just put it on the pilot, push it down, and count to 30. And it helped me a lot.
Because otherwise you're starting it.
You're just clicking and clicking and clicking.
Got to wait until it travels through that whole hose, and it really does take a long time. So
yeah,
save yourself the trouble and the time.
Yeah, it was some really good tips, and it really did help.
Yeah. Other things than that went well. We had brought a whole bunch of food to cook on the heater, and then we had a bunch of friends that were nice enough that brought us other food. So thank you to all of you. That was really awesome, and I look forward to next time cooking on the ice for real.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think we have a list of things that we brought and we didn't use, and we have a list of things that we wish we would have brought and we would have used. Having a little grill out there is nice, especially, if you're in a place where you can access a little bit of firewood. You can not only cook on your little grill, but you can have a little fire pit that keeps it up off the ice. And it's just kind of nice to be able to sit outside for a little bit in the evening and have a fire and cook your food on it. So, it's something I probably would have brought. We do have the little grill grate specifically made for the Big Buddy heater to sit on top. That would have been nice to bring with. We just forgot it.
Just totally forgot that.
But yeah.
The only other thing is, if you have some kind of a hole cover to go over your holes when you're sleeping, it's nice if you have the rattle reel, something that the line can go through. But otherwise, we did both kind of find ourselves waking up a time or two, making sure that we weren't, pushing something off our cot into a hole that was over there. So, just kind of a funny additional thing that you don't ever normally think to bring.
Yeah, and you can just use the little outside hole pads that you use for tip ups. because we have the dog, I covered one of the holes with a food bowl.
Yeah, with the dog food bowl.
And that
honestly
worked
perfect.
That worked perfect. But yeah.
I wonder if you could get like a bowl and just set it in there. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming now. I guess just what we had with us is what we use. So,
yeah. Well, and I think like we mentioned before, I think I would have drilled a hole or two underneath the cot,
so
just because then we would have folded it up. So then we wouldn't have lost anything under there anyways, because we would have been sleeping on top and just had our rattle reel in the corner, our opposite corners. But yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah.
And I look forward to doing it again as soon as it's not 50 below out.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. So with that being said, the weekend is going to be super cold. And so, that doesn't mean that fish aren't going to bite, but maybe I'm not sure if I'm going to be there to find out.
Well, I think we might go try over by De Pere. Try the Fox River, keeping a close eye on the ice report over there. But so far it sounds like it's holding up okay on the flats at least. So,
well, and, many of us have heard that Green Bay, that there was a lot going on today. So be really, really careful. Know the conditions that you're going out on. Be safe. That's always most important. So,
So Todd, that's a good point. We really do love the Sven sleeves. We've met the people at several shows, and they do really make a really good product. And the amount of great people and the amount of stories that they have and their customers have of just that, of using their product in a portable house so kids don't dunk their boot down the hole, or you don't lose your cell phone down the hole, and this and that. It's a great product, and there's use for it.
Yes, absolutely. Perfect. Yeah. And thank you for the suggestion. If you guys have ever camped on the ice, if you have questions about that, shoot that over to us. If you have a suggestion about a great product, post that here, share that with people, because we want to know, and I'm sure that you guys want to know as well.
And definitely, we've had several people message us over the past week or so, talking about different people to get on for our show. And so, definitely message us, give us suggestions. If there's a product that you want to talk about, we'll get a hold of the owner of the company. If you want to talk to a pro or a guide specifically,
let us know.
What. We're totally open.
With that being said, we do have next week coming up. Is actually we're going to talk with somebody really awesome that we bumped into at shows.
Very awesome guy,
Pat Kelmerton. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I know that he had kind of a fun event that he was at a few weekends ago. So I'm interested to see how his season is going.
Yeah.
And speaking of events, that's the other thing. If you know of events coming up, post that in the comments as well, because if there's something local to you or even to me, you never know who shows up. I know this event or this weekend seems to be really popular with local events, small lake fisheries, lake associations. I can think of several around us. And I don't know if I'm even going to tell you where those are, because, go and look them up. And I bet that there's a lot of local things to you. The nice thing about something local is if it does get too cold, you can just kind of run home for a nice warm dinner, and that's a great situation. But other than that, things that we are looking forward to in the coming weekends, the weekend of February 12th, 13th, 14th, and actually I think it's just the 13th and 14th is Michigan free fishing weekend. So don't go to Michigan because I'll be there at all those waters. I'm kidding. Go out there and bring somebody with you, whether that's a kid, whether that's a friend, whether that's a neighbor, whether that is your good fishing buddy. It almost doesn't matter. Get out there with somebody and make it a great time. Yeah, take advantage of those free fishing weekends in other states and here. If you haven't or you don't buy a fishing license for Wisconsin, I know that was a few weeks ago, but usually the states have a summer and a winter one, so keep your eye out for it or Google it, put it on your calendar. So it's a great time to go out and try it or hang out with your friends that do it all the time and just have a fun weekend. So I think we're going to go hang out with Guy Sibley because you're bringing me up there for Valentine's Day. But we're going to go try and look for some perch up there.
go say hi to Guy. I'm sure he's super busy. They've been pulling a lot of big fish, so we're just gonna bomb around with our new sled and our outdoor cargo system and pile around, see if we can find some fish. But the weekend after that is Battle on Bago, and we'll be there all 3 days.
Yeah, it's going to be a really fun time. To be honest, I've never been to Battle on Bago, but I could not be more excited. If you are there, there is a really good chance that we're going to be by the striker gear. So come and check out. I don't know if it's a tent. I don't know if there's an indoor location. To be honest, we will let you know that.
I'm pretty sure it's a tent. Yeah.
But I know that we won't be the only ones there. So if you are coming to the event, or this is the time to start planning on coming to that event, come say hi to us, or otherwise just come and take in all of that, what goes on, because there are prizes, there are awards, I can't even tell you all of it because it is such a big event and there's a lot going on. So also, if you have a favorite Battle on Bago memory, drop that into the comments and let me know what I can look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that, we're a little bit shorter tonight, but we covered kind of a lot of things. So really fun episode, and look forward to next week.
Yeah.
So
good talk with Pat.
And thanks for joining us on this evening's episode of The Night Bite.
Have a good night.